You've talked a lot about how you had a fear of death when you were
Yeah.
younger and the concept of uncertainty. When did that start for you? And also, how did you figure your way out of that? So you changed your mentality on that fear.
Wow, you're really good at this. My goodness.
I've done a lot
I'll
of
never
research on you.
I'll never forget this story. And by the way, I know sometimes I could talk a lot. I'm not as sensitive as I once was. Never hesitate to interrupt me, okay?
Okay.
Please.
I'm not going to interrupt you, but go ahead. I
But I
love
don't mind
everything
if
you have
I'm
to say.
rambling. But I'll tell you the story. I was sitting on my mom. My parents watched a lot of news. The news was always on every TV in the house. The news was on, and I was sitting on my mom's bed while she was getting ready for work, and I had just been able to start talking and understanding things. And somebody died. I think it might have been Frank Sinatra, if I am not mistaken. But somebody died, and I asked my mom, "How did they die?" And she said, whatever she said, they died, right? And I said, "How can someone die like that?" And she said, "A lot of people die that way." And I said, "How else do people die?" And she said, "You name it." And then she said, she's like, "Lee, you know that everybody dies, right?" And I said, "Everybody dies?" She said, "Everybody." I said, "And then what happens?" She's like, "I don't know." And like when she said that, my world, I remember like feeling nothing but fear. And again, she did the best that she could, but in that moment, instead of like comforting me and letting me know that it's about the journey and that life, she was like, grow up. Like everybody dies, snap out of it. I'm going to work. It was very cold and quick. And I started just obsessing over the thought. It brought me such anxiety. I used to just think about it and out loud I'd say, no, 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 like don't think about it right now, no, no, no. And I realized, like I think I really had that fear up until I kind of found my purpose. That's really what took it away. It was figuring out why I was here. Because then it doesn't matter to me what happens after you die. It matters to me what happens while I'm alive,
Right.
you know?
Right. That's
And
amazing.
and and that changed my whole perspective. Is like finding the Asher House, creating the community, and also being so invested into animal rescue. You can go to the shelter without really knowing much about animal rescue. You just know about the dog. But with what I do now, finding so much about how cruel people can be, how unfair life can be, I started thinking to myself that death can't be that way. That I am more curious, about what would happen. Instead of fearing it, I'm more curious because I don't think anything in the world would be as unfair or as cruel as how life can be. Now, I also believe that life can be beautiful and peaceful and all this, but I think what I now have the belief where my answer is not the unknown, that I believe there's a peace to it. And that's why it's so important, to do your best to find that peace here and do your best to make it count. But I don't think that it will be that unfair once we're gone, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. So, I think that's so important what you're talking about, finding your purpose, because so many of us are lost, right? And even if we're
Oh
chugging
yeah.
along and doing what we think we're supposed to do, and we, find that partner, or we have kids, or we find a job, sometimes people are still really unhappy and they can't figure out why. And,
Oh my God, yeah.
I'm 48 years old and I'm doing my best to, reinvent my life all the time and figure it out because I've realized that sense of being unhappy is because I haven't found a purpose. Do you know what I mean? And so I'm
Mhm.
constantly trying to figure it out. I think it's the first step is for your second act of life, kind of, or even getting to that point where you feel like your life has started, is finding that purpose. And for a lot of people, it's really hard, but it sounds like for you, at some point, you were able to figure out your purpose. And so I want to get into that because that's where you kind of flourish and become someone new, even though you're talking about being the same person, but it's when your life started.
Sure.
So you quit your job, you traveled in an RV across the country to rescue animals. And I want to know what that was like. What were you doing as a job to begin with that you quit?
Yeah, I was working for a finance company where I would go to different sales companies and help them with like motivation and sales strategies to, increase optimization and to be more motivated. Talk to them about energy and health. A lot of what I talk about now, but I would do it, for a corporate company and go in there. They would call me a corporate trainer, but the truth is, it's, can I curse on here or no?
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, it was bullshit. I didn't know at all how to train a company. I never owned a business. I was just a tall guy who looked good in a suit, who can reiterate words from other people. It's all about motivate, but I didn't know anything about it. I felt like such a phony.
Because it wasn't from your experience, right? It was just
No,
something you read
exactly.
and
I believed it. It's not that I didn't believe it. I believed, you need to be healthy and you need to work hard and go, all these things. But you shouldn't never speak about something unless you experience it. You should never ask somebody how to start a business or how to run a business if he's never or she's never done those things, So I was just a phony. I was so tired of being a phony. I was so tired of being like everybody else. I was so tired of not starting my own path, my own way. The only reason I'm bringing this up is because you mentioned death. I thought a lot about death, and it's like, what's this thought that you're going to live another 10 years? What's this thought that you're going to live another 5 years? You don't know shit. You don't know what the fuck is going to happen tonight. I said, what do you love to do, Lee Asher? What do you love to do? I said, I love to help people. What else do you love to do? I said, I love to help animals. Fucking go do it. Go figure out how to do that. Those are the two things that you don't need to make money from to be happy. Go do that and nothing else.